Just like arrays, lists are in a storage for our data that we can store multiple data inside one place. Lists are like an upgraded version of arrays. So we have much more features like adding the data after we created a list, or removing the data, and some other features that we are going to use inside this video. Now, in order to create a list, we are going to say list, and here we are going to specify the type of the list that we are going to create. I'm going to have a list of integers, so I will write down int, and here the name of the list, which I'm going to set to numbers, and we need to set the list to a new list. This is the structure of list. We need to set our list to a new list of integers because C# needs to initialize the list that we have, and this is the way it will do it. So now I can add my values by simply saying numbers.add, and here I can put the value, and I can add values anytime that I want inside my program. So let's have the value of 0, let's have 2, 5, 23, and 12. We can also remove the data by saying numbers.remove. Here I can put the value that I want to remove. This is the value, not the index of our value. So here I can say 4, and if there is a value of 4 inside my list, it will remove it for me. And if we don't have the value of 4, it will move on to the rest of the code. So we can also have numbers.contain, which will check if there is a specific number inside our list. And if it is, it will return us a Boolean type result. So we need to store that result into something, which we can store it inside a Boolean operator, of course. So let's say bool, let's call it check, and set it equal to numbers.contains. So if there is a number 1 inside our numbers, it will return us true, and if there isn't, it will return false. Alright, beside remove, we do have something else that I want to tell you, which is remove at. So let's say numbers.remove at, and instead of removing a certain number, I want to remove a certain index. So let's say remove at 0, and it will remove the index 0 for us. We do also have a sorting function, which is numbers.sort, and it doesn't matter the values inside our list is integer or in a string. It will sort it for us based on the value, and if it is a string, it will sort it from A to Z. We also can add a value to a certain index. Let's say numbers.insert, and by number.insert we need to add 2 values. The first value is going to be the index that we are going to put our value. So let's say index 0, and the second one is the actual value that we are going to put in that index. Let's say number 4, and add a semicolon at the end. So now we want to test our application. So I'm not going to print all of our numbers each time we are doing a function and show you the results that the function are providing for us. Instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a breakpoint at here. Breakpoints are a very great way for debugging our application. So if you wrote a code that is not giving you any error, but the result that is giving you is different from what you expected, you can use debugging and you can use breakpoint to solve that problem. What breakpoint does, because C# is running the codes from top to bottom, when the program reaches the breakpoint, it will stop the program and it will come into the code, and we can watch the code running in real time and watch the values that the our variables holding at real time. And it is a very powerful feature that we have access to. So simply in this line I can add a breakpoint anywhere in my code that I want. And simply by running the application, alright, so it added all the numbers and now hit the breakpoint. If I hover on numbers, doesn't matter where it is, if I hover on numbers, here you can see it's a count 5, which means that there is 5 values inside our numbers. And here you can see the index, and here you can see the values that are inside our numbers. So it hasn't been sorted yet because we are on the line of the sort and it hasn't run it yet. One of them is to press continue, and it will get out of the breakpoint, get out of the debugging, and just continue the application until it hit another breakpoint, which we don't have. Or I can press on the step over. Here is a button called the step over, and if I press on it, it will go to the next line. As I told you, C# is running our application line by line from top to bottom, and by pressing a step over, I'm telling it that go to the next line. Alright, now that we have moved to the next line, if I hover on the numbers again, you can see our numbers are sorted because the numbers.sort has been executed. So the next line is inserting value of 4 inside index 0. So let's step over and watch numbers. Alright, here you can see the number 4 in index 0, and you can see our count has increased. Now let's remove 4 that we just added, and if I hover again, you can see the number 4 has been removed. And let's remove at 0, and you can see the index 0 has been removed as well. So now that we have reached the end of the line, so it is the last line, and it hasn't run the code yet, and if I step over, the application will be closed. So let's test it. It is because there is no other line of code that it jumps into. It will run the code and then close the application. Because this is a console application, and the console applications will be closed automatically if there is nothing for them to do. So we can add a console.read line, which is going to read a line or wait for the user to input a key. So the application won't be closed because it is waiting for the user to input something. And let me just move the breakpoint to the boolean that we have, because we want to check that. Here you can see it will hit the breakpoint, and if I step over, the check going to be false because we don't have a number 1 inside of it. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. If you want to give me the motivation to create more videos like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.